microphone. Weather Extra. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Woohoo! Made it to the end of the week. The weekend is almost here. Knock on the door. You hear it? There it is. And this time I hit the microphone just once instead of twice. I didn't double hit it, so I muted myself yesterday. I'm not going to mute myself today. Some of you may want me to mute myself, I know, but especially when you hear the fact that I just don't have any rain in the forecast, except for that nice little burst we had yesterday afternoon. Eric Burke and I were talking yesterday morning, and we had a few showers in the morning, and he's like, I think we really should keep a stray shower in the afternoon. And I talked about it on air. I thought it was going to be more towards the Georgia-Alabama state line, but there were a few storms that actually made it all the way out to Limestone County, and they had a pretty good little burst of wind. Essentially, the storm collapsing on itself created a pretty decent microburst, and there was some pretty decent winds, not just in Limestone County, but also in Hazel Green, too, northern Madison County. So if you had rain yesterday, or even late last night, there was a storm near Phil Campbell about 2 a.m. That was like extra rain, so to speak. It was like rain that probably played out a little bit more than it should have. It would be nice if we could have that happen again and sometime soon, but it looks like the next chance of rain doesn't come until next Thursday. So we got another long stretch of sunny, dry days coming our way, and obviously we're monitoring the drought graphic. When you can go like 90 every day for like 6 or 7 straight days and not have a drop of rain, it can dry things out pretty quick, right? So Decatur right now, I think that says 81. I don't have my glasses on, but 81, beautiful. Look how calm the water is right now. Hardly any wind. But if you're playing pickleball today, it's a wiffle ball. Even if there's a 5-mile-an-hour wind at those outdoor courts that you play at, it's going to make the ball do weird things, just so you know. But unless you're playing pickleball or maybe a round of golf, the winds should be mainly light or calm most of the day. If you have plans tonight, you're going to be going out for high school football. A little warm for kickoff, but then it should cool off nicely, at least from 80 to 70 during the game. If you're going to be going to Toyota Field to cheer on the Trash Pandas, last homestand, just 3 games left, tonight, Saturday, Sunday. I went last night, the weather, I was watching the radar, the showers were dancing real close to Toyota Field, and I was like, please, no. And of course, I first walk in, and there's this really nice gentleman that works in the front when you first go through the gate. And he's like, "It's going to rain, Jeff?" And I was like, "No." And I crossed my fingers and I was like, "Don't come to the stadium." There was like a few showers that were real close to Toyota Field, but they ended up missing. And the weather was great for the game. Unfortunately, they came up a bit short, but they'll be back at it tonight. And hopefully the Pandas can take a win and we're good to go. I'm going to the game tonight. Very happy to go to the game with Eric Burke and his wife, Heather. Can't wait to go. And should be a good night for baseball or high school football or whatever. And the weekend plans look good too. I know we had some events last Saturday that had some issues with some rain through the morning hours. That will not be the case this weekend, but if you have outdoor plans this weekend, it will be hot. So water is the beverage of choice, but if you're like me, might mix in some other beverages too, but you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. You can still get overheated a bit, and even if it's 90 and not all that humid, and that's what it's going to be like for the weekend. But should be pretty good weather. Don't forget the sunscreen too. I am so bad about it. We go play pickleball. I didn't wear my hat the other day. I had this sunburn right in the top of my head right here. And it hurt that night. So make sure you're wearing your sunscreen too. There's your current temperatures, everybody. 70s to around 80 degrees. And Mike Gentle, good morning to you. Coffee cup. If I had my coffee cup, I had so much coffee already today, but I don't have it with me. But I would do cheers for you, my friend. It's good to see you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day on your Friday, Mike, and also a really good weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And where are we at weekends wise in September? Let me check my calendar. So if I have it correctly, no, not the last weekend. This is the second to last weekend until fall officially arrives on the 22nd of September. And do you remember? Every time I say that, I want to sing that song. That song has the worst lyrics ever. You know what I'm talking about. I think it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. And the lyrics to that song is just horrible, but it's the catchiest song ever. So what do we got temperature-wise? 73 in Scottsboro, 76 in Fort Payne, but some 80s now already in the Shoals. And Decatur, I talked about 81. Albertville, 80. So, yeah, warming up pretty quick. Warming up faster this morning than it did yesterday. Remember, we started the day off with some clouds and even a spot little sprinkle here or there. That's not the case today. The one thing that many of you were talking about on Facebook this morning, saying, I'm out the porch, I'm having my morning coffee, and it doesn't feel like it did yesterday morning. And that was exactly right. A little bit more humid. The dew point temperatures are up in those 60s, close to 70. I still think Pulaski is a little high there on that dew point, but nonetheless, not the air is not quite as dry as it has been much of the early part of the week. You feel a little bit more of that humidity. It's not like the oppressive dog days of summer, July grossness, but it's still enough where it can make a 90 or 91 feel like 93, 94 in the afternoon. So a summer-like feel as we go into today and the weekend. Can't shake that completely yet. It's the Tennessee Valley. We don't shake that until like middle October. So there's your afternoon. I put 89 there at 3, but a lot of areas will probably be 90 at that point. Just kind of take the average. But hey, Dio from PC. Good to see you on. I got your message. Thank you for letting me know you had a thunderstorm near Phil Campbell this morning at 2 a.m. My friend Linda also had one too. She lives in Phil Campbell. She let me know as well, which was very nice. Sarah, how are you? Good morning, Jeff. Daniel, Hope, Elijah, all popping in to say hi. I say hi to everybody, and good to see you all on. Thank you for coming in for Weather Extra. Always appreciate it, and very happy to have you all on. It's good stuff. And Dio says, yes, I remember. Good. I bring back memories for people. There's your afternoon forecast. We talked about the sunshine. What graphic do I have next? Tonight, we're going to go clear, warm. I put warm, but low 60s, probably more like mid 60s for many of you. So when I'm on air with you all tomorrow morning on Saturday, we'll probably be briefly in those low to mid 60s in the morning, then rise quickly through the morning. We're going to heat things up fast. We call it, it sounds like a really weird word. You say diurnal temperature. It sounds like something, doesn't sound like diurnal, right? But diurnal, what we mean by that is you can have a wide range in your temperature throughout the day, diurnal temperature, right? So you could start at 60, but the light at the end of the tunnel is not until almost you get to 90. So you have these like really warm or hot days, however you want to define it. But then the temperatures do drop back in the low 60s, which this time of year isn't really warm. It's more like where we should be. But nonetheless, big jump in temperature. And you really feel the change during the evening once the sun goes down, which is before 7 p.m. And the temperatures can drop pretty quickly through the evening. That's why I think it'll be warm for high school kickoff games, but by the fourth quarter, I don't think it's like jacket, sweatshirt kind of weather, but it will feel a little bit better by the end of the game. So there's your 3-day forecast. Saturday, Sunday, hot, hot, and then Monday, hot, really easy, low 90s, 60s at night, sunny. The chance of rain is essentially 0, and therefore dry conditions. It's pretty good. Outdoor plans. I think I want to say there's a 5K somewhere this weekend. I got to go look that up. I try to do event graphics for the weekend to try to let everybody know what's happening in your town or nearby your town. But I know there's a lot of events taking place. We're starting to get now into those events where like corn mazes and stuff are starting to become popular. That kicks in like next weekend, and yeah, lots to do. And we did a story the other day. It was a farm on TVL. It was a farm. I think it's where they do tulips, but they're doing sunflowers too. You can get sunflowers, and love sunflowers. They create nice height in your gardens. They give you a little bit more than what some of the plants do, which is great. I have trouble keeping them alive and straight, but they're good. Let's talk tropics while our weather is really quiet. Where did I leave off? Hey, Samantha, appreciate it. Big Cheddar is here for you. Good to see you. Samantha, have an awesome Friday and a really good weekend. It's always good to see you. I appreciate it. I still love that nickname. I tell people that you call me Big Cheddar, and they're like, is that a compliment? I'm like, it totally is. Trust me, I am all about being cheesy, I promise you. Oh, cool. So many of you have my cell phone number. I give it out just randomly to strangers. But I love when I get an email, a text. This is my friend Chris. I talked to Chris. You send me updates when I first moved here. He's a good guy. And him and his wife lived in Alabama. They live in Athens, and they've lived here for like 20 years. And he's always good for a Friday morning text. Hey, what are we doing this weekend for weather? So, because we got plans. They always are going somewhere. And he sent me a text already. I don't mind. It's all good. Sarah says, hope you have a wonderful day. Got to get back to teaching my kids. There you go. Get back to teaching them. Doing their thing. You all have a good Friday and a good weekend. I'll probably see you on here tomorrow morning. If I don't, I'll see you maybe Sunday. If I don't see you Sunday, I'll see you eventually. Talk to you then. And you're very welcome for the weather update. I appreciate you coming on for Weather Extra, Sarah. I love the fact that even on my days off, you're like, are you going to be there for Weather Extra tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm back to work tomorrow. And Samantha says, definitely a compliment. Exactly. That's what I tell them. I tell them, they call him Big Cheddar. And they're like, is that a good thing? I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's great. Let's talk tropics for a minute. Tropical wave off the coast of Africa. We never got to Gabrielle. A, B, C, D, E, F. I do this every time. Fair now was the last one we had. Aaron was the only hurricane this year. Barry probably caused the most damage with the remnants of Barry in Texas back on July 4th with that terrible flooding that we saw. The tropics, though, have been kind of chill. And I don't want to jinx it because this is the peak season that we're in right now, right? So watching that 40% chance, Eric talked about this morning, it's not really moving into an area that's conducive for development, certainly not rapid development. Any kind of development would be slow and methodic, but it could briefly make it to tropical storm status, and if it does, it would be Gabrielle. We've been on that name for a while. We had a couple potentials in the past couple weeks, and it never came to fruition. So watching that little area right there, obviously no threat to the lower 48 right now, but always keeping an eye on the tropics. Hurricane season, for your FYI information, goes all the way until end of November, so still have named systems. When I first started in the industry in TV, the hurricane season ended November 1st. Because of warmer SSTs or sea surface temperatures, it seems like that hurricane season is prolonged now a bit later, and it goes all the way now to the end of November now, officially. Still going to have a storm that develops after that, but just hurricane season is defined going to the end of November. So there's your Saturday and Sunday. I already showed the 3-day. I don't know why I showed this again, but whatever. I'm a mess. There's your 10-day. I'll pop it up so you can see it a little bit better. It's pretty straightforward, everybody. Very, very quiet, very quiet. Douglas Bevel, is everything still good for the air show? I think so, yeah. I know Eric Burke is planning on going, and he was talking about it on air this morning, and everything looks good. It doesn't even look like it's going to be windy. I mean, I don't know what would affect an air show besides thunderstorms, but it looks great. The forecast for the events this weekend look fantastic. Next week is hot, Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday will be hot, and then there's a frontal boundary that moves through Thursday, and it looks like it's going to be starving for moisture, meaning that it's going to probably not produce much rain, but what it will do, it will shift the weather pattern ever so slightly and maybe take the gaudy 90s and bring them back down to around 90 for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it will probably cut back a little bit of the humidity too, but it's not really a game changer in terms of rainfall. So if we do stay dry, whatever you had yesterday with rain, if you were lucky to have it, that was huge. But a lot of us didn't have rain yesterday, and that means we wait another at least week for more rain, 6 days. But you start to get to that point where it's like, okay, it's been 1 week, now it's been 2 weeks, and then it goes to a third week where you don't have rain, and now all of a sudden that green grass you have in your front yard is burning up and brown, and we start talking about drought. And I wanted to put the drought monitor up, I forgot the graphic, but we had some improvement when it updated yesterday, believe it or not. That soaking rain on Saturday and the rain we had the Tuesday prior to that. But yeah, drought monitor, we'll be watching that graphic, and every Thursday it gets updated. And I'm sure it will the colors will start to expand, the area will expand, and the colors will get more into those browns and reds, which we don't want, but not much rain. I mean, it's a very dry forecast for sure. But yeah, the air show this weekend, I'm sure there's some golf tournaments taking place. I mean, this is the time of year I feel like every Saturday and Sunday, if I comb through like Tennessee Valley events happening, not just in North Alabama, but in our Middle Tennessee viewers too, there's always something happening. I just have to find it, and then I make a quick graphic and I talk about it on air Saturday and Sunday, because if you have an event scheduled on a certain day, you want to make sure the weather cooperates. Now, obviously, it would be ideal if it could be 75 and sunny for every event we have, but if you can get through the event where it's dry and you have to deal with a little bit of heat, if it's an outdoor activity, it might not be so bad. You just want to stay away from any kind of really gross heat and oppressive humidity, but we just don't have that. I mean, 90 is still hot, don't get me wrong, but it's a more manageable 90 than it would be, say, at the end of July if you were having an event. It can be a little bit more humid that time of year, right? Samantha, my grass is already getting kind of brown in Florence. Yeah, I just bragged, like, I think it was Wednesday's Weather Extra, bragging about how my grass for the first I've been here now. This is my third September, and for the first time in 3 years, my grass is actually green in September, and I actually still have to mow it. Like, it's still growing. Like the last couple of years, I could put the lawnmower away for almost 3 weeks in September, and maybe just trim it back. But it's growing. I've been getting decent rain at my house, and it's been pretty wet. So everything was really green. But I have a feeling that if I go dry, that 10-day forecast works out. I'm not going to be green at my front yard anymore. But I do plan, my goal this weekend is I clean the garden out. I took out some of the old stuff. My salvias were getting crowded out by my cypress, so I had to like take them out. They weren't getting enough sunshine, and they were like, well. So I think I'm going to throw some mums in the garden either this weekend or Monday or Tuesday on my days off. I feel like my garden needs a little bit more color, and mums are always a great recipe for color, so we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, that garden gets a lot of sun, and sometimes the mums are like, I'm really thirsty. But I tried to put a mum on my front porch, but it's like sun beating down on it in the afternoon, evening, and they have no chance unless I'm watering them every 10 minutes. So I stopped doing that. That did not work out so well. But mums can add a lot of color to your garden, and they're pretty easy to maintain as long as they love to drink. And I have to trim back my hydrangea because it's starting to get a little unruly, lost its color. That time of year is starting to trim up the garden and get it ready for next year. I might even add more next year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See how adventurous I get. But I put that garden in like the first spring I moved, and I never take into consideration how big things are going to get. So I put these rose bushes in, and now they're like crowding everything out, and I really should dig them up and move them. But hey, that means they're successful, right? Which is good. Nothing wrong with that. Chase, what do you do? I got your message the other day. Yeah, Jada's pretty cool, right? I'm a big fan. Chase says, love you guys. Hope everyone has a good weekend. TGIF, you have a good weekend too, my friend. And yeah, have a good Saturday and Sunday. Speaking of Jada, she will be back on this weekend. So Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will be on tonight. I'll be on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and Jada will be on Saturday night and Sunday night. We'll have the very latest on your forecast. It's pretty straightforward. And if anything needs to be added or subtracted, we will, of course, adjust. That's what we do. But right now, it looks like that Thursday time frame for the next chance of rain looks good, albeit might not be very much, but at least it's a little something in the forecast for rainfall, which is good. So TVL starts in 10 minutes, and I still have to put my show together for that. I've already updated the web. I feel like I'm ahead of the game. I'm kind of thinking about the weekend already, even though I'm here till 1 o'clock. We will be on not just for TVL, but we'll be on for the noon newscast. I do believe Jonathan is in covering the noon show today. He is a trooper. He is losing his voice, and he muscled through the morning show for 2.5 hours, then did cut-ins. And in the TV world, there's nothing worse than when you don't have your voice. Like, I have a raspy voice anyway, but when you start to lose your voice, it is like hot tea, full throttle, trying to make it work. And he is a trooper in doing it, and he'll be here for the noon show, I do believe, with the very latest. So we'll have more updates on any kind of updated news stories, in which I do think we have. Obviously, some headline stories that will be way up in the A block, way before weather. So tune in for that for sure. All right, everybody have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk with you tomorrow morning. Hope if you're going to any high school football games, your team wins, and if not, they play well. And yeah, have a great Friday night and kick off the weekend in style. Talk with you soon.